Hey everyone, this is Kit Cabela with Hard Lens Media. All right, great way to start off the Friday show. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to share with everyone. Hope all of you are doing well. Again, Hard Lens Media is live every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube, Odyssey, and Rockfin. Again, if you want to subscribe to us on Rockfin and Odyssey, because the YouTube censorship is real, it is in the description box below. Please subscribe to us on Rockfin and Odyssey. Double check and triple check that you're still subscribed to Hard Lens Media as well on YouTube, because the YouTube censorship is real, and because the censorship is real on YouTube, it's also impacting, again, what we do here. So please consider being a Patreon supporter, because that way we'll be able to continue to do a lot of the work, and through Patreon, we're able to still survive, but YouTube is acting weird. So again, please consider being a Patreon supporter. One of the benefits of being a Patreon supporter is, one, you get some awesome behind-the-scenes content, what we talk about here at the studio, and some of the projects that we are working on. And also, you get your name read as well. And I want to give a huge shout out to these wonderful people who are our wonderful Patreon supporters. Shout out to Emma Beveridge, Angie C., Tanya Bosley, Tara Elliott, Wendy Carballo, no relation to Kit Cabello, Lee Neely, Michael Lord, Denver Attaway, Justin M. Tucker, good friend of the show, known him for a long time, Rashonda Anthony, Laura Meggi, and Stonewall Jack Wagon. Thank you so much for being our Patreon supporters. We're so grateful for all the support that we're getting. But I have a couple announcements that I want to share with all of our viewers and subscribers. Number one, be sure to tune in tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Chicago Corner. That's right, our other YouTube channel will be live. So check out Chicago Corner tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's going to be hosted by Jerry Vassilatos, and it's going to be a great show. It's going to be awesome. Be sure to check it out. He's doing a lot of great stuff. There's going to be a lot of great content on it. Chicago Corner will be live, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also, real quick as well, we are all aware of the 3-day General Strike Summit that's being hosted by the awesome Fred Hampton Leftists. I was recently on their show just last week on Thursday, and they do a lot of great content, and they have a lot of great speakers and organizers for this 3-day summit. And I'm proud to say that Hard Lens Media, myself, I'll be participating in it, will be on their 3-day summit tomorrow, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so it's 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, so be sure to check it out. It's going to be an awesome time, and I wanted to say here to the entire crew of Fred Hampton Leftists, you guys are knocking it out of the ballpark. Keep on pushing forward, keep on being non-apologetic, and keep speaking truth to power, and I'm really proud of how this 3-day hashtag General Strike Summit meeting is going along. Again, also, be sure to check out Chicago Corner tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. A lot of great content, a lot of great show. It's going to be a great show on that show as well. And also a huge shout out to FaZe, who's manning the board. And I also want to give a shout out to the moderators that are keeping the peace. Shout out to Ayana, E. Heller, Fred Edward, Gamer for Life, Reef Breland, and so many others that are keeping the peace in our awesome live stream chat. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move on now to our first story of the day. So thank you all so much for joining us. Glad to have you all here with us as well. So let's get started with our first story. So Fred Hampton Leftists are hosting their 3-day General Strike Summit meeting. And this is going to be fundamentally important towards how we can actually build infrastructure for much needed change. Across the country, we're seeing workers, from nurses to factory workers, people of different job professions, walking off and demanding more. In 2020, our government abandoned us. Your favorite Democratic and Republican lawmakers did nothing to bail us out. They bailed out the corporations, they bailed out the top 1%, but they didn't help out working class citizens. It's time for the people to step up and start demanding more. And through this General Strike Summit, we're hearing different perspectives from a lot of progressive activists, community organizers, pundits, and people who are actually been involved in regards to speaking truth to power. But the thing is, with a movement like this, with the General Strike Summit meeting, it's going to get its own share of people who are going to be critical of it. It's the same group of people who were critical of forced to vote. It's the same group of people who are against the March for Medicare for All. Look, I know there's a lot of progressive infighting, and I have no idea how to fix it. But here's the thing. To those who are being critical of the general strike movement, what is your solution? For those who have larger platforms or have the coveted blue check mark, what is your solution? What is your counter proposal? I'm open to hear it. I want to see it. Because right now, a lot of Americans, a lot of activists, a lot of community organizers, working class people, we can't afford to wait on these politicians. The progressives that were elected into Congress that were supposed to bring the ruckus are not bringing the ruckus. They're either bullying, they're either crying when being bullied to turn their no vote to a present vote. They're either saying that Biden is exceeding expectations or silent on any other issues at all. We cannot rely on politicians, so it's up to the people. So where are the progressive leaders? These establishment people that we elected into Congress, they're nowhere to be seen. So this general strike summit that we're seeing is needed. It is there to prove a point. It is there to say that it's time for people to step up. It's time for people to demand action. And to those who are trying to dismiss this, like, again, how larger media platforms were dismissing forced to vote and the March for Medicare for All, what is your solution? Now, I want to play this first video. This video clip is actually from Fred Hampton Leftists, and they're speaking a lot of truth to power. There's been a lot of criticism towards Hassan Piker, and he's been kind of critical towards the General Strike Summit. But again, I have to say, for those being critical of what the Fred Hampton Leftists are doing, what is your solution? What is your proposal? Do you have one? Let's hear them speak about this.
All the people that are now AOC stands I didn't see none of those motherfuckers when I was out there organizing, working, volunteering, giving my time, giving my money when I was unemployed, broke, okay? We were back in AOC, all right? And none of them were there. And now all of a sudden, all the people that fought to get her elected are the ones that feel most hurt. And she has abandoned those people that put her in the position of power. And we are critical of her.
Hey, Kamali, what happened to those people that was protesting and supporting Cory Bush with the homeless crisis going on? That's still happening right now. What happened to that? And then they want, because you know why I went on general strike. That's part of it. The homelessness crisis that you are not solving through electoral politics, and Hassan Piker knows that. So if Hassan Piker knows that electoral politics is not going to solve the crisis of the homelessness problem, then he's abandoning it.
Yeah, which he can easily do because he's a millionaire and it's not an urgent issue for him. And this is what we've been trying to tell you guys. They know the things that we are saying is true. I honestly feel like if you have a platform that large as Hassan Piker, look, we're a small channel. We were able to get all these people together for a General Strike Summit. You guys know how many hours we put in doing this? You know how many late nights we had, how many late meetings we had, and I'm working a full-time job. We put in a lot of work to do this. Now, if you're Hassan Piker and you have the platform that he has, imagine what he could have done with the connections that he has. No, he doesn't want to do it. He wants to sit down and he wants to play video games with AOC and he wants to shit on activists and he wants to sit up here and criticize a group of Black people. So fuck that. When he sits up there and tries to say that he cares about Black issues, that he cares about working class issues, don't say nothing to him on Twitter because he is showing you who he really is. Let him reveal himself.
This is what happens when someone doesn't have a sense of urgency. When you have people like me who have that sense of urgency, and then you shit on us for wanting to actually make change, you're basically saying that I don't matter. Just shut up and just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's some capitalistic bullshit.
All right. Look, let's be very clear here, what we're seeing. The purpose of this general strike is to inspire people to get involved and inspire people to step up. We've covered this on Hard Lens Media, and so have numerous other independent media networks. Workers are on strike. Workers are tired of being abused. Workers are tired of being put on the front line and not getting anything in return. Wages have not increased. Our politicians have gold-plated health care, and those in the establishment media ignore our situation. And those larger progressive channels, when it comes time for them to step up, they're nowhere to be seen. But when people like Jimmy Dore does something for forced to vote, or when we see something for March to Medicare for All, when we see something like what the Fred Hampton Leftists are doing with the hashtag 3-day General Strike Summit meeting that we're seeing here, it's needed because we realize we can't rely on politicians to save us. We have to show these politicians that we could do this without them. And I'm proud to say that Hard Lens Media, myself, I will actually be part of the General Summit meeting tomorrow on Saturday. And so I want to end this story on a positive note. I want to play a video of all the heroic speakers and activists, organizers, and progressive journalists that will be participating in this much-needed event. So let's play this video. Joy Gray. Right there. There you go. Awesome. There we go. Pause right there. Hey, look at that. Hard Lens Media. Awesome right there. Just had to give us a big promo. Thank you, Fred Hampton Leftist, for actually giving us this opportunity to actually be part of this 3-day General Strike Summit meeting. It's much needed, and I can't wait to talk about the need for free speech. But I'll be, again, tune in for everyone for this weekend, everyone. Do it. Watch everyone speak. So there we go. Let's play the rest of this video. Study QB. Just to wrap up this entire story, I just want to let everyone know that this General Strike Summit meeting that we're seeing, that will be happening tomorrow and on Sunday. That's still happening even today.
There's a question I've had for a very long time, and it has to do with this map.
Right, there we go.
This is a map of the 18 states in the U.S.
This
where
summit meeting
Democrats
that's happening
control
today, tomorrow, and on Sunday. We must continue on the push. We must continue on the fight for this general strike. Because we need to start pushing forward without the politicians. We hoped for the politicians, we hope for these progressives that we elect into office to raise a ruckus, and they're not going to do it. The midterms are just going to be a propaganda disaster for the Democrats. And going into 2024, Trump is going to run again, and we're going to deal with the same neoliberal corporate Democrat propaganda. It's time for independents, progressives, Greens, libertarians, socialists, even, yes, Democratic and Republican voters, to realize that the two-party system is not working for us. Nothing will fundamentally change if we rely on these politicians. This General Strike Summit that's being led by the great people at the Fred Hampton Leftist channel, the Fred Hampton Leftist News Network, they're doing a lot of great stuff, and I urge everyone to continue to support what's happening, and be sure to check out their live streams tonight, tomorrow, and on Sunday. They're doing a lot of great work, and it's real. I'm really happy that Hard Lens Media myself will be able to participate in this awesome event, and we must continue to go forward. That being said, we're going to move on now to our next story. Before we do, I want to give a huge shout out to all of our moderators that are keeping the peace. Thank you all so much. And again, be sure to tune in tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for Chicago Corner. Chicago Corner will be live. Be sure to check it out. We also got something here on Rockfin. Let's see what's going on. True democracy now tip $2. Strikes and protests are not the solution. They only reveal that citizens cannot control the behavior of their representatives. If you want political change, you have to first elect people that will actually listen and represent you. People you can actually control after elections. Learn how on my website, truedemocracy.org. You know, look, I have to say, I think strikes and protests are important. And yes, I do believe that we should also be involved in the election process as well, most notably supporting independent candidates, third-party candidates, and supporting ballot initiatives and voting for some of the lower positions in government, such as city offices, state elected officials. There's many ways in which we can bring in much-needed change, and there's a lot of... We just have to keep on pushing forward on this. But relying on Democrats right now in Congress, that's not the solution. We got to look at different alternatives, and I support ballot initiatives and supporting building infrastructure for third parties. And yes, keep on doing the strikes, keep on doing the protests. With that being said, FaZe, do we have anything on Odyssey as well? All right. And everyone in chat, give a huge shout out to FaZe, because right now the reason why everything's looking crisp and clean and sharp isn't because of lighting. It's because the technological magic that our tech priest agency or FaZe is working on. So when I say hashtag FaZe rules, I want to see a lot of thumbs up in the chat right now. So let's get some thumbs up for FaZe, who's doing some fantastic work. But now, let's go and move on to this hilarious segment that I just can't get enough of. Senator Klobuchar was confronted by activists who want her to stop the Line 3 pipeline. This Line 3 pipeline is being constructed in her home state. And let's be clear here. Pipelines leak, pipelines fail. Most notably, let's look at the Colonial Pipeline that Robbie Yeager of Mikasu Casa has been covering. We're working to get him back on our show very soon. There's the Line 5 pipeline that's underneath Lake Michigan. Now, there's no disaster yet, but it's a decade-old pipeline. Let's look at, again, the Dakota Access Pipeline, where there have been leaks on it as well. Pipelines fail. They're built cheaply, and they're not there to improve the economy. They're a disaster, and they impact a lot of our fresh, clean drinking water. So Klobuchar, in this first video, she looks like she's a stand-up comedian in this video, but, you know, and it looks like she's bombing the stage. But, you know, similar to what happened to Manchin and Cinema, Klobuchar is being confronted by her constituents, people who want her to do something about the Line 3 pipeline. And like any politician, she just gives a weak sauce answer. Let's play this video. Enjoy.
Teacher.
And what about Line 3? Where why is that line going through nearly half of North America's
Okay,
fresh
guys.
waters? But not only that, so you're gonna fund a
She looks like a failed
$5
comedian.
billion nature project, but won't intercept on a
Okay.
project that's already.
Guys, could we just let me talk about Connie here just a little bit? Okay. Well, anyway, I want to thank everyone, tell you how much we love Connie Bernardi, okay? So let's get her reelected. She is an incredible leader. And by the way,
Hi, are you having fun?
Oh, man. You know, there's two things I want to point out. I guess this is Senator Klobuchar's Joker origin story. Bombed terribly on stage, and now she's being made fun of. I shouldn't make fun of her. But anyways, she bombed on stage, and a lot of those activists were drowning her out because, let's face it, the Line 3 pipeline, similar to any other pipeline, is a disaster. We have to look at different alternatives, and this over-reliance on fossil fuels is a drug that a lot of us need to get off of because it's impacting our environment. Climate change is a real threat to humanity. And as we continue to ignore this situation, it's going to get worse. Pipelines fail. They always break. They always falter. But similar to any politician, like how Sinema walked away from her constituents and walked into a bathroom and flushed the toilet, or like how Manchin trying to talk all kindly and nice above his fancy yacht. These politicians don't give a damn about us. They don't give a damn about the environment. They don't give a damn about universal basic income or Federal Jobs Guarantee Act or Medicare for all or student debt forgiveness or medical debt forgiveness. They don't give a damn about really investing into our infrastructure or doing anything else to help out working class citizens. Our politicians only care about who's paying them, who's giving them money. So Klobuchar walked off stage. But these same activists, earlier in October, actually confronted Senator Klobuchar again. So this is an older video. I think it's only fair that we, again, see how she reacts to normal working class people, her constituents, people who are bringing up concerns about the Line 3 pipeline. Let's play this video.
Hi, Senator Klobuchar.
Yeah, that's very cute.
Hi, can I talk about Line 3 actually? We're asking you to call on President Biden to stop Line 3. It has a higher carbon footprint than the entire state of Minnesota. And this climate crisis, I mean, you saw Hurricane Ida, you saw how many people died, and we just really need you to call on him and ask him to stop it. Because you have so much power. You have so much power. And as a young person, the climate crisis is something that really concerns me. And stopping Line 3, we can't have climate justice without you stopping Line 3 and asking President Biden. I know that you don't have a vote, and I know that you can't vote in the Senate to stop Line 3, but President Biden has that power, and you have the power.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you please commit to stopping Line 3?
Thank you for sharing. Senator, we're going to go. Oh, I guess going this way.
Can you commit to stopping Line 3? It violates so many treaties with Indigenous people. It crosses over 200 bodies of water in Minnesota. If you are really committed to climate justice and to building a future for this generation, then you would stop Line 3.
Can you make that commitment?
Can you make that commitment for us? Can you fight for us?
Walking away. Like a typical politician. And like any other politician, they all have the audacity to think that they could become president of the United States. These politicians don't care about any of us. They're willing to walk away. And look, the same thing with Republican lawmakers. They'll walk away too. I don't expect a Republican senator or House representative in the United States Senate or House to care about climate change. They're never going to run on it. They're never going to run on progressive issues. I don't expect anything from the Republican establishment. The Democratic establishment ran on a lot of these progressive issues, or ran on progressive issues, and they chose not to do anything about it. They chose to just sit on it, ignore it, and assume that we would all fall in line. Vote blue no matter who. There's one of your heavy hitters, right? Amy Klobuchar, who kept on repeating that same lame joke over and over again about how Donald Trump's hair would fare in a snowstorm or blizzard or whatever kind of lame joke you were trying to do. Similar to Sinema and Manchin, Klobuchar is walking away from constituents that are bringing up real concerns. Your elected leaders don't care about you. They're all part of one big club. So if you're a diehard Democratic voter or a diehard Republican voter, here's the real secret to your politicians. And I'm going to keep repeating this. Here's what they're really doing. They're not fighting for you. They're not making legislation for you. What they're doing 90% of the time is on the phone, calling their donors to ask for more money so that they can run their campaign, get reelected, so they can sit back in that office booth, so they can call their donors to get more money. And while they're doing that, they're writing legislation that will benefit their said donors. So if you're a diehard Republican voter, diehard Democratic voter, okay, fine. That's your poison that you pick. But know this, you will never have a seat at the table. Your elected leaders don't care about you. And corporate media has done a fantastic job in dividing Americans into trusting this two-party system so much that we're all either Team Red or Team Blue. This midterm election cycle, I want to hold out for hope that things will be different. That maybe more Americans will participate, but in a way that's different, something that the establishment isn't ready for, to where American voters vote third party, supporting third parties, building up infrastructure for third parties, supporting ballot initiatives, and not falling for the same trap of voting for Republican or voting for Democrat, because however which way it will go, nothing will fundamentally change for the majority of Americans. And by the way, Democrats, through executive order, Biden can actually make cannabis legal. make Medicare for all happen, and get rid of student debt. Just those 3 things. Joe Biden can do that. But he's not going to do it. Just like how Manchin and Sinema will never do anything progressive. I mean, come on. That's a fool's dream right there. And also, again, these activists who are doing the right thing, confronting Senator Klobuchar will never do a damn thing. But these activists that are standing up and demanding the removal of the Line 3 pipeline keep on pushing forward and keep on speaking truth to power. These pipelines fail, these pipelines leak. And just to bring up with the Colonial Pipeline, it wasn't state regulators or federal regulators that found the leak. It was 2 kids under ATVs who found this leak. And as reports are showing about the Colonial Pipeline leak, it is possibly the 2nd worst oil disaster in American history. I dread to think what this Line 3 pipeline will do to the numerous amounts of clean drinking water that it will cross. Pipelines leak, they always do. This is a fact. And Senator Klobuchar walking away from her constituents, well, it's to be expected because politicians don't care about us. That's why there's a General Strike Summit meeting that's happening this Friday, today, tomorrow on Saturday, and on Sunday. We have to look at solutions and not rely on politicians because they're not going to help us. With that being said, we're going to move on now to our next story. Before we do, I'm seeing everyone here in the chat. Give me a thumbs up for FaZe, because he's really making a lot of things happen. He's working on the sound, working on making the video look good. I mean, look how crisp FaZe, you did a great job with this. I mean, it really looks great, man. It looks awesome. It looks awesome. It looks awesome, man. It looks great. By the way, again, tune in tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for Chicago Corner. And Saturday, tomorrow, I will be participating with the Fred Hampton Leftists, the General Strike Summit. Looking forward to talking about free speech and protecting independent media because, let's face it, if there's a general strike and independent media is censored, how's everyone going to know about it? Anyways, really glad to have all of you here. Do we have anything on Odyssey or Rockfin? Nothing on Odyssey and Rockfin? All right, well, we are then going to move on to our next story. So this shouldn't surprise anyone, but it turns out Manchin is showing he won't support the Build Back Better. Okay, wow. Hey, Joe Biden, all those times you were sitting down talking to Manchin, I guess he really just didn't give a damn about your agenda at all. But to me, in my opinion, this is one big fake show. Biden and Harris were talking to Manchin and Sinema so much. Progressives, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Progressive Caucus. Did you have as much time as Manchin and Sinema did with Biden and Harris? No, probably not. And after all this debate, all this talk, all this compromise on the compromise, on the compromise, on the compromise, Manchin says, no, I don't want to do it. And let's be very clear. My opinion was this Build Back Better. It's garbage. It's going to privatize a lot of things. There's nothing progressive in it. This isn't a win for Democrats. Democrats, especially progressive Democrats in the House and Senate. You do realize that this is going to cost you potentially the midterm election cycle in 2022. That's going to be you guys. Great job, Democrats. Way to keep screwing it up. So, I got this video here from Case Study QB. Let's play it in its full entirety. Again, huge shout out to Case Study QB, who's speaking truth to power and doing a lot of great work. Be sure to check out his YouTube channel and Odyssey channel as well. And be sure to check out his work with the People's Gauntlet. Let's play this video.
Trying to read the tea leaves of what Joe Manchin means when he says, and I know he talks, but he's now pumping the brakes on the president's social and climate bill in a tweet, talking about inflation and the problem there and the scoring again. Is this a situation for the Democrats? Now, the progressives have a commitment for a vote on, getting this thing through. What's going to happen when it gets to the Senate?
I think that this is exactly, frankly, what some members feared would happen. But I do think that the House of Representatives, that agreement between the moderates and progressives is going to help move that forward through the House. And I think we'll have to see what happens in the Senate. I do believe that Leader Schumer is still really committed, as the president is, in moving this forward. And so the president is going to have to get really busy making sure that he can bring those senators around. And I think the president's visit yesterday to the Port of Baltimore and talking about the supply chain, helping Americans understand what's happening and what might be causing the inflation that we're seeing, showed that he really, is demonstrating that he's trying to communicate with the American public about how we bridge this gap. And they're going to have to go on the road all day, every day for the next year, really touting what's in these economic plans for the American people.
Okay, so a whole lot of nothing was Manchin and Sinema and all the other Democrats right now. There was this potential for the Democrats. They had a window of opportunity, especially during this, after the 2020 election cycle, to actually do some changes. They could have brought in much needed change. I mean, look, Biden through executive order could have made cannabis legal. Biden through executive order could have made Medicare for all a thing. Biden through executive order could have gotten rid of student debt. He didn't do any of that. The progressives in the United States House and Senate, AOC and the Squad, Bernie Sanders, they could have pushed their agenda. They could have rallied their supporters to actually challenge the Biden-Harris administration, but they chose not to. When it came down to force the vote, or even force the vote for 15, and even the March for Medicare for All, where are the progressives at? Especially in Congress. Where are they at? Nowhere to be seen. Even for this General Strike Summit meeting that's being hosted by Fred Hampton leftists, where are the progressives at? They're being silent. And why? Because it benefits them, because they're in line with the Democratic establishment. People like Manchin can do whatever he wants, but yet somehow our progressive leaders who are in power that we helped vote in, well, they're choosing not to implement their power. They're choosing not to do anything because maybe they don't care about the issues at hand. Maybe they don't really give a damn about working class Americans. This system that we have is sick to the core. And so long as we rely on the Democratic Party to bring in change, nothing will fundamentally change at all. The system is sick. It's falling apart. It's a complete disaster. And seeing Manchin act the way he's acting, no one should be surprised. So, Democrats, vote blue no matter who. What kind of propaganda are you going to force down our throats for the midterm election cycle of 2022? What are you going to tell us in 2024? My advice to everyone is this. It's time to really start building infrastructure for third parties. It's time to start supporting ballot initiatives. During this General Strike Summit meeting that's happening this weekend, I urge everyone to check it out because there's a lot of progressive commentators, activists, leaders that have been silenced by establishment media, that have been constantly smeared by coveted blue checkmark people on social media. But they're the ones out there speaking truth to power. They're the ones out there fighting for that better future. Manchin and this Build Back Better thing for Biden, it's not going to help us out. It's only going to help out private corporations. So Manchin voting no on it, no one should be surprised. But this is the weakness of the Democratic Party. They can't even get anything done. I can't wait to cover the midterms. They're going to be hilarious. They'll be sad, but hilarious at the same time. Let's get ready to move on now to our next story. Before we do, I want to give a huge shout out to all our viewers and subscribers that are helping us out. Thank you so much for supporting Hard Lens Media. If you want to help us out even further, please consider being a Patreon supporter. That link is in the description box below. Be sure to subscribe to us also on Odyssey and Rockfin as well. Those are two media platforms that at least respect their content creators, respect free thinking media, and free speech. So be sure to subscribe to us on Rockfin and Odyssey because who knows what's going to happen here on YouTube. Anything can happen, but the censorship is real, and I'll be talking about that tomorrow with the Fred Hampton Leftist General Strike Summit meeting tomorrow. Can't wait to do it. It's going to be a lot of fun to speak about. It's going to be a lot of fun to share with, and I'm excited for it. Can't wait for it. So it's going to be a lot of good fun. I see we got something here on Rockfin. Let's go ahead and pull that up here real quick. Democracy Now! Chipped $2 on Rockfin. Thank you so much. Our representatives have no obligation to listen or respond to voter interests, concerns, or needs under our U.S. Constitution. Klobuchar, Manchin, Biden are no exceptions among many. We have no control over their behavior after elections. Until we understand this, we cannot create change. Very true. And again, thank you so much, True Democracy Now! Be sure to check out his website, truedemocracynow.org. If you're on Rockfin, he left a link there in the description box below. So let's go ahead and check that out. Speaking of which as well, I want to give a huge shout out to our moderators. Shout out to E. Heller, Gamer for Life, and so many other moderators that are keeping the peace. So take care, everyone. By the way, huge shout out to FaZe for manning the board. And with that being said, let's go ahead and move on now to our final story of the day. This has to deal with Steven Donziger. Steven Donziger is a hero. Steven Donziger is someone who stood up against Chevron and actually won a case. The people of the indigenous people of Ecuador were being polluted. Their water sources were being contaminated. And he does not deserve his sentencing. We actually covered in the show earlier this week where Roger Waters was speaking or reading a statement that Steven Donziger wrote while he was in prison. And we need to keep on speaking about Steven Donziger, because if we remain silent, if we choose to ignore his story, everyone else will be on the chopping block. What Steven Donziger did was heroic. What Steven Donziger did was needed for our democracy, for again, holding these corporations accountable. And right now, our judicial system failed us. Our judicial system is making him into an example. And we cannot afford that anymore. So let's play this video. There's so many wonderful activists and organizers that are still standing in solidarity with Steven Donziger. Let's play this video.
Indigenous communities around the world.
Powerful video. We're going to keep on talking about Steven Donziger. What is happening to him is disgusting. In jail for a misdemeanor too. After being 2 years under home confinement. The man and his family have suffered enough. And this is happening under a Democratic administration. So I would say to Biden, you know, you are president of the United States. You could pardon him, get him out of jail right now. You could do that. In the show notes in the description box below, there is a link to that video that we played. And there's a petition that you can sign. And also be sure to write to your Congress leaders. I know writing to our Congress leaders expecting them to do anything, but we have to keep on speaking about this. If we let them do this to Steven Donziger, it's going to serve an example for others on not to stand up to big oil. These corporations that are polluting our fresh water supplies, our environment. And before anyone else types in, yes, our entire infrastructure is surrounded by fossil fuel energies. But it's time for us to invest into green energies, different alternative fuel sources, so that we don't damage our environment anymore. And Stephen Donziger won his case against Chevron. And Chevron, a private corporation, is doing this to him. The judicial system failed us. He must be freed immediately. This is a joke. But we're seeing this happen to whistleblowers or people that stand up to the establishment, and what happens? They get punished. They get put on the chopping block. This is our democracy. If we don't fight for that better future, we're done for. Free Stephen Donziger. He must be pardoned immediately. And I want to give a huge shout out to Amazon Watch that put that video together. So many people need to stand in solidarity with Stephen Donziger. He did the right thing. And if we don't do this now, who else will step up? We need more people like Stephen Donziger and so many other whistleblowers and independent journalists that are speaking up. We cannot be silent anymore. The silence must be avoided. The silence must stop. Free Stephen Donziger. So that being said, I want to thank all of you for joining me for this live stream. I also want to give a huge shout out to Ilinar. First off, Donziger was illegally in prison. A judge has no right to prosecute anyone. The DA passed on prosecuting him. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Shout out to all of our moderators for keeping the peace. I want to give a huge shout out to all of you. Keep on doing what you're doing. Gamer for Life, E. Heller, Fred Edward, Ayana, and Reef Breland. Thank you so much for keeping the peace. Everyone give a huge shout out to FaZe for manning the board. Give him a thumbs up in the chat. Also, tune in tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for Chicago Corner. Jerry Vassilaus will be hosting Chicago Corner. He'll be doing a great job. I was happy to fill in him for on Tuesday, but Jerry is going to have a great show for all of you, so be sure to tune in and check it out. Tomorrow, I will be with the Fred Hampton Leftists, be a part of their hashtag General Strike Summit meeting. I'm looking forward to being part of it, and it's a real honor that I'll be able to stand in solidarity with the Fred Hampton Leftists and be joined by so many other awesome activists and community organizers and journalists that are speaking truth to power. Support free speech, and be sure to check out the Fred Hampton Leftist General Strike Summit meeting that's happening tonight, tomorrow, and on Sunday. We need to spread the word and make this thing happen, because even afterwards, even after the summit meeting, we have to continue pushing forward with that fight. Again, Heartlands Media is live every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube, Odyssey, and Rockfin. Be sure to support us on Patreon. That link is in the description box below, as well as our show notes, the link to Rockfin and Odyssey as well. My name is Kip Cabell, the host of Heartlands Media. Peace to you guys, and let us all do what we can to build a better future.